So in case you haven't figured it out, I'm Beverly Calendar Anderson. This
William Hosea, all-around great guy.
all-around great guy.
Can't forget that.
Thank you all for being here. I have the first question, so I will start I'll start with the question, and we'll start with you, candidate Thompson. In the past year, the existing commissioners have had a very contentious relationship. I'm sorry? Oh, that's right. You're right.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. And you know, we did this last night, and the same thing happened. So,
Here to get into it.
so yes, that's right. Can you start, Commissioner?
Tell us who goes first.
Candidate Thompson will go first, and then we'll start with you, Candidate Jones. So, can you start with your opening statement? And thank you for the reminder.
Hello, everyone. I would like to thank Monroe County Black Caucus. I would like to thank the Indiana Latino Caucus of the 9th District, our moderators, Beverly and William, and all of you for taking time out of a busy week to come out here and listen to me and my opponent. My name is Dominic Thompson, and I am running for County Commissioner. I'm actually running to be the first LGBTQ+ County Commissioner in the state of Indiana because I have a strong vision to create a better Monroe County. In office, my priorities will be expanding affordable housing that works for the different communities in our county, expanding economic development that meets the moment that we are in with climate change, and creating coalitions so we can create a more responsive county government, and making sure that every voice is heard and every voice is brought to the table when we're talking about the future of our community. I look forward to bringing my experience from 3 terms as chair of the Board of Housing Quality Appeals for the City of Bloomington, with my time on the Monroe County Affordable Housing Advisory Commission, and also the time that I have spent in our party as vice chair of the Monroe County Young Democrats and with the Stonewall Democrats of South Central Indiana. Once again, thank you all for being here, and I hope to earn your vote throughout this debate tonight.
Thank you, Candidate Jones.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Lee Jones, and I'm running for re-election as County Commissioner. It's been such an honor to serve as Commissioner for the past 3+ years, and on the County Council for 6 years before that. This has given me a deep understanding of how county government works. When I first ran for Commissioner, I was excited to work on criminal justice reform. Soon after I was elected, I worked with several community members to open the Stride Crisis Diversion Center, which has given people in crisis an alternative to incarceration. I was instrumental in commissioning an in-depth study of the entire justice system, which has given us a map to follow for reform. I now head up the Criminal Justice Reform Committee. It is our intention to create a system that is truly just. A few months into my second year as commissioner, COVID changed everything. This was uncharted territory for us. For the next 2 years, we worked with the Health Department, Emergency Management, the city, IU Health, and others to bring our community through this crisis in the best shape possible, both health-wise and economically. We use grants to support businesses and nonprofits, the food bank, community kitchens, and shelters. We work closely with the city to open an isolation shelter for the unhoused. We also funneled money to the township trustees to help people in danger of becoming unhoused. Recently, I have been able to return more of my attention to criminal justice, and I would like to have the opportunity to continue the work I have begun.
Thank you both. So now we'll get into the questions. In the past year, the existing commissioners have had a very contentious relationship with existing county departments, particularly the clerk's office, led by our first elected Black female county clerk. If elected, how do you see working with each department in the county? Specifically for candidate Jones, how do you see working with the clerk's office if reelected? And we'll start with candidate Jones.
I have never had any problems with working with most of the people in the clerk's office. I find them very pleasant and easy to work with. I would not have any problems in the future working with the clerk's office. The reasons these problems have occurred is because the commissioners were asked last summer to do something that we explained simply could not be done. We could not move the probation department out of the building that the clerk wanted in time for us to remodel another building for probation, remodel the present building to be a bigger area for Election Central, and get all of that done before the election. Because of that, we hunted for other places that would work well and presented them to the election board. The election board took, I think, about 2.5 or 3 months to choose between the places that we had suggested. Finally, in early January, they chose what has generally been recognized as an excellent location for early voting. There's easy parking, it's right next to transit, it's right downtown, it's big enough for 60 voting booths. It should work much, much better than Election Central has. And I'm very pleased to have been able to do this. We had to work really hard to get it all ready, but it is now ready. And early voting started today with no problems.
Thank you. Candidate Thompson, would you like for me to repeat the question, or do you have it? Okay. In the past year, the existing commissioners have had a very contentious relationship with existing county departments, particularly the clerk's office, led by our first elected Black female county clerk. If elected, how do you see working with each department in the county?
So, as county commissioner, I would start with something that I don't believe is currently being done. I would start by making sure that every person who comes before county government, every department head, every elected official, is treated with the same basic human decency that I would expect myself to be treated with. And from the situation that we saw with our first elected Black female Monroe County clerk, she was not treated with that decency. So that would be the first point that I would mention. Secondly, I think it's important to understand that we all want to build a stronger Monroe County. We have to get past the divisiveness that we see currently with our county politics, and we have to work together to create that stronger Monroe County. And I think that starts by understanding the needs of our county departments, the needs of our elected officials. And I would just like to end by saying that I recently had the opportunity to tour Clerk Brown's office, not voter registration office that most people know, but the clerk's office. And I saw really disgusting conditions that we're asking our county employees to work in. For example, there is an employee employed by the clerk's office who can't access the bathroom in the clerk's office because it's not ADA compliant and she is disabled. We see that we're not paying our county staff enough, especially in the clerk's office, and they're being asked to live in another county than the one that they serve. I will be on the ground, seeing, understanding, and working to create that stronger Monroe County that we all would like to see. Thank you.
Candidate Thompson, we'll start with you. The next question. Can you tell us why you're running for this position?
I am running for Monroe County Commissioner because I think right now we need someone who is ready to fight for county residents in office. Right now, we see the divisiveness that has taken hold, especially at the county level, when the county commissioners are arguing with Clerk Brown, who had reasonable demands to provide free and safe elections. We see that when they argue with the city of Bloomington on the convention center for several years. We also see it in the way that the rental inspection program hasn't been brought back after a individual, a child, died in a house fire that wasn't compliant throughout the county. We need someone in office who is going to work to create a better Monroe County, a stronger Monroe County, someone who is dedicated to that. And I believe I'm that candidate. Thank you.
Candidate Jones. Same question, please.
I am the incumbent commissioner, and I have been serving my community for most of my life and would like to continue to do so. I have the knowledge and skills that make me an effective commissioner. Most of my first term has been dominated by COVID, and I would like to be able to continue to work on the things I was originally elected to do. I ran on protecting Lake Monroe as our community's only water source, criminal justice reform, and finishing the plan for the urbanizing areas surrounding Bloomington, which includes affordable housing. During my first term in office, I was able to get a lot done, but the advent of COVID slowed things down. I would like to have the opportunity to devote more time to making important things happen. Thank you.
Candidate Jones, if reelected, what will you do to improve the quality of life for Black and brown residents?
The thing I am most passionate about that will help improve quality of life for at least some Black and brown people is criminal justice reform. This is something I am very passionate about. I was raised a Quaker and still am one. Ever since the Society of Friends, or Quakers, was first established in the 1600s, they have worked for criminal justice reform. My mother, who was a Quaker, spent most of her life working on this. She visited the jail weekly and maintained long-term relationships with many of the people she met there. She did a lot to improve conditions, but her work left many needs for us to address. I am very anxious to carry on and achieve true reform. I believe this is the right time to do it. We know our criminal justice system frequently is not just, especially for people of color. As head of the Criminal Justice Reform Committee, I have an opportunity to create real change. The commissioners have also been working on affordable housing. We donated a large tract of land to Habitat for Humanity, where they are in the process of building a mixed neighborhood. A lot of affordable housing has already been built there. We also granted $2.2 million to United Way and the Community Foundation for their Heading Home project. The Rural Development Commission has been funding infrastructure in North Park to make it shovel-ready for development. This area is well located and has good drainage. We cannot force developers to build affordable housing, but we can offer governmental support for it. Thank you.
Candidate Thompson, same question.
When I talk on the campaign trail about creating a stronger Monroe County, that means including Black and brown voices in creating a stronger Monroe County. There are so many ways that we can improve the lives of Black and brown people that doesn't associate them with crime. I think we can talk about affordable housing, something that currently has been turned down several times by our county commissioners. We can talk about climate change and the need for a climate action plan at the county level, because we know that climate change disproportionately affects Black and brown communities. We can work to make sure that we are increasing and elevating Black and brown voices throughout our community by putting them on boards and commissions, by ensuring that we are bringing them to the table when we're talking about the future of our county, and also by not just holding constituent meetings, but going to these communities, being on the front lines, and really asking how we can make a difference. I know as county commissioner, in case you couldn't tell, I'm white. However, I recognize my privilege, and I recognize my own lived experience, And I know that is very different from Black and brown people. I will focus as county commissioner to ensure that I can represent them as best as possible by making sure I'm working with Black and brown individuals in their community day in and day out. Thank you.
Candidate Thompson, you get to go first again. How have your past experiences shaped your decision to run for office?
So, being on the Board of Housing Quality Appeals for the City of Bloomington, I have learned how rough it can be for tenants in our area. Here in the state of Indiana, we don't have great tenant rights. I know that many of you are shocked by that. I think that from that experience, what I learned is that we need individuals in government who will fight for every resident of our community, of our county. And that's one of the biggest experiences I want to bring to being county commissioner. Furthermore, I want to bring my time as the vice chair of Monroe County Young Democrats so we can ensure that we're doing the coalition building. Because if we're going to create a stronger Monroe County, we have to lift up voices. We have to find people where they are. And we have to ensure that's not the same people who tend to come out to our public meetings who are impacting our county. Thank you so much.
Before I ever ran for office, I served in Democratic Party leadership for 10 years. First, I was treasurer, then vice chair, and finally, I was chair for the last 4 years. It was while I was chair that the county, at long last, became Democratic. This experience was fundamental in my first campaign for county council. During the time I was in party leadership, I got to know many of our elected officials very well and had a good grounding in county government. I had learned how to campaign and was comfortable running for office. Serving on the council was a great opportunity. I learned a lot from that experience. While the council oversees the budget, sets salaries, and oversees job descriptions, my abilities lie more in the area of policy and administration, which are the roles the commissioners are charged with. Having been brought up as a Quaker was also a strong influence. I had been taught that being a good person wasn't enough. It is important to actually do things that make a positive difference in people's lives. Being commissioner has allowed me to do this. Thank you.
Candidate Jones, do you believe Black Lives Matter?
Of course, Black Lives Matter. It is very hard for me to understand why this would ever be disputed. I was always taught that every individual deserves respect and have tried to live accordingly. One of the signs of how sick our society has become is that this question ever had to be asked. All lives cannot matter until Black Lives Matter. When the time comes that all Black lives matter, it will no longer be a question that needs to be asked.
Candidate Thompson, do you believe Black Lives Matter?
I don't believe that Black Lives Matter. I know that Black Lives Matter. And one thing I would ask every candidate who comes on the stage tonight to ponder is, what does that mean? And what does that mean for your role in our government? For me, when I say that I know Black Lives Matter, it means treating Black and brown people with the same human decency that I expect to be treated with, the same respect I expect to be treated with. When I say that Black Lives Matter, I think it means that we have to do more to elevate Black and brown voices, which are historically underrepresented here in our community. When I say that Black Lives Matter, I know that that means that we have to do more, because if we want to create a stronger Monroe County, we all have to be a part of it. And I would ask that every candidate really ponder how their actions in government are impacted by knowing that Black Lives Matter. Thank you.
Candidates, want to thank you for your answers to all the questions up to this point. And now we're going to ask you to take 1 minute for your closing statement. We'll start with candidate Thompson.
Thank you all for this opportunity to debate tonight and to talk with you all. Thank you, Beverly and William. Thank you, Monroe County Black Democratic Caucus. And thank you to the Latino Caucus of the 9th District. I am excited to fight for every resident of Monroe County as county commissioner, and I'm looking forward to building a stronger Monroe County with all of you. You can find my campaign lit outside. You can contact me at dominicforcommissioner@gmail.com. And I look forward to earning your vote throughout this campaign, and I hope I've come a long way in earning that vote tonight. Thank you.
Candidate Jones.
I would like to thank the Black and Latino Caucus and the moderators for giving us this opportunity to speak tonight. I am a longtime resident of Monroe County. I grew up in Bloomington and have lived most of my adult life in the western part of the county. I know and understand the people of this community. Before I was elected commissioner, I served on the county council for 6 years. I was on the Plan Commission for 10 years and on the Board of Zoning Appeals for 4 years before that. I was also a member of the Parks and Rec Board for 6 years. I know how local government works, and I know how to get things done. I would appreciate your vote for me, Lee Jones, during early voting or May 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you both.